In 30 seconds, you will be witness to one of the greatest online events in the history of, well, online events. Descript proudly brings to you a topic that you deeply care about and whose name is the title of this online event. I'm Don. I am not your host. I am an Overdub stock voice included for free with Descript. So, now, let's meet someone who actually works here.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Harmony. How are you? Back at it again with another webinar.
I know. I'm so excited.
It's been a minute, so we're excited to hang out with all of you and talk about our topic today and the latest in our series of Descript at Work. Today, we're talking about how to make educational materials. So, Harmony, I know something that you have a lot of experience in. Maybe want to talk about your background a little bit and why this is so exciting for you?
Absolutely. So, thanks everyone so much for joining today. My name's Harmony. I'm a customer success manager and product specialist here at Descript. So before arriving at Descript, I worked as an LMS administrator working in Cornerstone corporate LMS. Prior to that, I was at another startup where we actually built online courses. So we'd take university brick and mortar in-person courses, convert them to an online delivery. This is during the MOOC boom. So for anyone that was creating those massive open online courses, we actually built a studio, we built a green screen, brought instructors in, took them all the way through pre-production planning, sort of their outline to filming, and all the way through post-production. So if only I had had a tool like Descript at this time, it would have made even just transcription so much easier.
Well, like they say in Step Brothers, it would have been awesome if we had it when we were kids, but we got them now. So let's dive into why Descript is so great for some of these workflows and why it's so valuable. I think that we see a lot of people use it for effective blended learning experiences, either taking lecture content, making it accessible, taking the screen recorder tool, making a class through that, or using that to give students feedback even on their own work. And I think some of the greatest value can be through Overdub and keeping your learning material up to date without having to re-record it all from scratch, which I know can make a big difference in your time and effort. Harmony, what are you seeing when you're out talking to our customers?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think to your point, Jack, using the screen recorder for being able to quickly create voiceover slides, right? Or take even like, an entire semester's worth of lectures, bring it into something like Descript, transcribe it all, add captions, throw it into your LMS. The accessibility, I think, point of view is super important here. But also now with some of the updates that are coming, being able to see folks like fully outline and script out entire courses or lectures or tutorials. That way you can bring sort of more of your process, even your pre-production process into the one tool, which is Descript in this case, and be able to see that to fruition all the way out through post-production. I'll kick it back over to you.
And if I can unmute myself successfully. It's only 2022. So and I think that one of the other great things to talk about too is that educational materials and Descript can scale to whatever size team and whatever size and learning environment you're in. To be that a really, really big company, we have an enterprise plan, and Harmony and I work closely with a lot of our customers. So find that descript.com/enterprise. Work with small teams or even individuals. Maybe you're selling a course online. Our Creator and Pro plans, we know of a lot of customers who do that on their own. And then we even have a educational institution and nonprofit plan. So one thing we want to point out for sure is that we have a nonprofit plan, EDU plan. If you're price sensitive or a instructor somewhere at a nonprofit or educational institution. So another thing that we want to point out at the top here. So
Yeah, so
Harmony,
super powerful for
yeah.
companies, individual creators, universities. So what we're going to show you today in the demo can be applied across so many different venues and use cases.
Yeah. All right, so let's get started. And I want to prompt you out there in the audience watching us today. Ask us questions. We really, really love to use these sessions to answer your questions directly. So send as many questions as you got. We'll make these little banners at the bottom and bring up some topics of conversation, but we always know that's an extremely valuable way to spend time with you. So let's start with our first question of poll. Which of the, let's learn a little bit more about you, the audience. Which of these responses best describes you as an educator? Are you in the corporate environment? Are you a K through 12 teacher? Are you somewhere else? We really, really want to know what you're doing, how we can help. And so that's why we're here to talk through some of that today. So Harmony, maybe we should go ahead and start diving in, or we want to talk a little bit first about how some instructors in some of the schools like to use it.
Yeah, maybe let's use that as a jumping off point. How schools are using us, how individual instructors are using us. Do you want to chat about Georgia Tech real quick?
Yeah. So, for example, a customer, a client, a partner of ours that we love working with is Georgia Tech in their professional education department. They have a team of instructors and a team of learning management education professionals that are helping take Georgia Tech courses and put them online. They have a lot of students who are either taking a class here or there online or totally online. So their professional education department helped, powered by Descript in part. So I think that's a really cool way that a large college and university is using it. We also see it with companies doing kind of a similar workflow to create training for their employees, using Overdub to, update your compliance videos or things like that. And one other kind of cool educational one that I think is worth mentioning is the City University of New York, their journalism program. They actually have their students make podcasts with Descript. So they have every student in their program use Descript and get really hands-on to give them feedback inside the program as well. So a couple of, I think, of cool use cases. Harmony, I know you know some other ones as well.
Yeah, I would say, especially for like companies that are creating training, we see folks creating internal training, but then we also see them creating external training that you might be looking to monetize for. So going back to like what we were talking about earlier, all of that creation, editing, publishing process can all happen under one place, regardless of the type of training you're creating. So all of the sort of same rules apply that we're going to be talking about today to all of these various applications.
Yeah. With that, let's pull up the app. Let's go ahead and dive in. So let's also, one thing I'm getting a note that some people are saying the stream is freezing. If you are getting freezes, just refresh your browser. That should help stabilize things a little bit. Otherwise, just blame it on me. Send me an email, and I'll make sure your complaints get directed to the right department. So
perfect. Jack's on top of it.
Yeah. So let's go. Harmony, let's start first about how Descript works with the team, and because maybe you're working as a group, maybe you're taking old content, maybe you're taking brand new content. What's the best way to manage a project?
Absolutely. So just in terms of helping people get a lay of the land here. So when you log into Descript, this is where you're going to land. This is what we call our drive view. From here, this is where you can set up folders, and this is where you create all of your projects. So essentially there's two spaces you need to pay attention to. Over here on the right, this is where all of your content exists. And as you can see, this is where I've created some folders. You can create nested folders. You can favorite some folders that you frequently access. And then over here on the left, you're going to have some filtered views. You'll notice that I'm working from my personal drive, but if I have access to other team members' drives, I can easily toggle between those. Think of it kind of like as Google Drive, moving between different drives. I can also access recent projects, recordings that I create with the screen recorder, projects that get shared with me. We're going to talk a little bit about templates later on. And then one thing to keep in mind, we have this concept which we call workspaces. So your Drive workspace, if you're working on a team, this is a great thing to use as far as like be able to collaborate on projects. So for anyone that has access to your team Drive, you'll be able to collaborate on projects together, make edits together, make comments. So once again, going back to that collaborative point of view, it's very easy to collaborate on projects together. You also have what's called a private workspace. This is kind of like, this is a private workspace just to you as an individual user. And then if you need to move something from your private location to that collaborative workspace, you can easily move that from one location to another.
And Harmony, maybe
Jack,
one
anything
thing.
else? Yeah.
I was going to say one thing that, maybe you've got the app open while we're sitting here talking. Maybe we should just specify this is some of the new Storyboard look today. We're going to do most of our conversation today in Descript Storyboard view. It's going to be, you can actually sign up for it right now and get access to it. Test it out, see how it feels. There's a lot of new features in there, and we're still ironing out some of the rough edges. So good news is if you love Descript as it is, you can still create projects with the classic way. But we really wanted to show you some of the new features and new look and feel of the app as well. So that's why things might look different if you're used to seeing it another way.
Absolutely. And for folks that are interested in getting access to Storyboard, just go to descript.com/storyboard and you can sign up for it right there. Otherwise, happy to answer any questions along the way. And that's one thing that we're going to be doing a little bit differently today. Essentially, we're going to have 3 main sections to today's webinar. So we're getting started with how to manage your Drive, manage your members, and shortly we're going to start pulling in and recording some material. We're going to pause there for some questions. And then there's going to be 2 other sections. We're going to get into editing and repurposing workflows, as well as publishing and sharing. So we're going to break at each section and give folks the opportunity to ask questions along the way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So on to recording and importing, or anything else about this workspace you think that's important for the crowd to know?
The only other thing that I'll mention while we're here is that for teams that are working together, you're going to have an account admin. So that person is going to be in charge of managing who has access to your Drive. So from here, you can manage their permissions. Jack, do you want to talk about the sort of differences between editor and basic members?
Sure. So one great thing about the Descript app is that we've got 2 different types of seats. So an editor seat is somebody who needs to have all the permissions, create, export, make comments, make highlights, do all the combining and recombining that you might need to do inside the app. So that's the most powerful set of tools. But we also have a free seat available. And this seat type is really great if you're collaborating with people, or you just need somebody to have visibility into what you're working on. These are called basic seats, and they're kind of like a comment-only member of your Drive. So you can bring them onto one specific project if they only need to see that one project, or you can have them have access to everything that you're working on. So great if you've got an external collaborator, or maybe it's a professor you're working with, for example, or a subject matter expert. Maybe they don't need to use Descript, but they want to see what's going on. Those basic seats are great for that.
Absolutely. All right, so I say let's dive right in. I've opened up a new blank, or a new Storyboard project. As if you're familiar with Descript Classic, it's a slightly different layout, but the same concept is going to apply as far as bringing in material and transcribing it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to title my composition here. So today I'm going to bring in a short tutorial here. Title it. All right. And then I'm going to drag in a file, just pop it right on in here. That's going to kick off the transcription process. In this case, it's a fairly short video. This is a guitar tutorial, but this could be anything. This could be something that you recorded on something that was actually recorded on an iPhone. you're recording on Microsoft Teams, wherever, just drag it in and it'll start transcribing. I'm going to add a speaker label and it's done. And I've already uploaded this video, so we don't have to wait around. So I'm going to switch right over to that. And so here's what you would get once video imports. We noticed that our friend Rob here had a couple false starts, right? So this is the magic of Descript in that you can just simply highlight what you want to get rid of. So if I want the video to start here.
Hello, thank you for tuning in.
Right, I can get rid of this sort of false start, delete it, and now my video starts here. And so in this new layout, we have what's called scenes. I'm really loving scenes. What this allows you to do is essentially make edit points in your video in the script without having to go down into this timeline area. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on. Jack, is there anything else worth mentioning about scenes before we continue on?
Yeah, I think one of the really cool things about scenes is that you've got the opportunity to adjust them later on too. So let's say things get a little different in the future. Maybe you need a scene to be shorter or longer. There's a lot of things that you can do once those get laid down. A lot of options to kind of preserve your ability to get content where you want it, which can be really tough in other time editors.
Absolutely. So for example here, Rob here is referencing this 2-1-2 arpeggio to C major 7 chord. And so if I wanted to add, let's say, a diagram in a specific section of this tutorial, let's say I want something to pop up just from here to here, all you have to do, I'm going to hit enter, I'm going to add a paragraph break and add the backslash. So you notice that's created a new card here in the gutter over here. So it's kind of think about like your video editing, almost a presentation at this point. And so I'm going to create edit point here so that now I can take this section and I'm just going to drag on just a PDF here that I want to have pop up here. Okay, great. And so now it can have that display in line and we'll go from here.
In the same area. So here we have our drop to C major 7 chord.
Great. And so if I was going to take some more time, I'd add, I'd change the opacity of the background so that it matches with the coloring of the PDF. But that's how simple it is to just drag on additional images, B-roll, music, and isolate them to these specific scenes, if that makes sense. Jack, anything else before maybe I think at this point, like, let's say you've recorded something and you wanted to add some additional video in. Should we give that a try?
I think so. Yeah. Maybe let's add some video, some images, maybe a title, some things like that.
Absolutely. So what I'm actually going to do, this is a good opportunity. We're going to talk about templates later on, but I do want to show if, let's say I want to add captions to my entire video, because Rob here, he posts a lot of stuff to YouTube. I can highlight all of my text and I'm going to use Command K. This is our conductor. This is how you tell Descript what you'd like to do. So in this case, I'm going to add some captions. And I noticed that it didn't get fully applied to the entire video. So I'm going to come down here, extend that out to last the full duration of my video. And now I've got some captions here.
To learn and practice them.
Great. So the other thing noticed, there's a couple corrections here I need to make to some of the transcript without affecting the video. So let's say I want, instead of this to be commas, I'm just going to highlight that text and I'm going to correct that. Maybe I want it to show up as 2-1-2 like that. I can make that correction. Correct. And now I've corrected the transcript without affecting the audio or video. Great. And I'm going to go back to the beginning here. I want to add in say title. Just come up to the top menu. I'm going to add a title. Type in what you'd like. Right. Start with 212. So you can just start layering in these different elements. It's as simple as that. And so let's say you want to add in some additional video here. Let's say there's an excerpt that I forgot to add. So I'm going to come in and make another paragraph break. I'm going to scene. And Jack, should we show off how to use our screen recorder here?
Yeah, I think this is another good way to add some other things in here. But Harmony, I want to pause on one thing first before we go to the screen recorder. This is a different workflow in Storyboard to add titles, add captions, add images. Maybe we want to just show off some of that kind of top nav bar, and maybe we can talk through that just for a second.
Absolutely. So first off, we're going to see the media icon here. So this is where you're going to locate all of your project files for this particular project. This is where all of your raw, unedited media is going to be stored. So I can easily find any specific files, drag them into my project, but I'm also going to see stock footage, stock backgrounds, photos, Jiffy or Giphy, whatever your flavor is, stock music. So let's say I wanted to add in some guitar music at the beginning, the ukulele. There we go. Let's listen to that. All right, that sounds all right. So I can
goes with the vibe.
Goes with the vibe. Can drag that in, and let's give that another try. And apply that right on top of the scene. Third time's the charm. There we go. All right, so now let's add the music here. Let's take a listen.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Okay, so maybe I want that that music to start like a little bit before he starts talking, and the music's a little bit loud. So I'm going to select that track. I'm going to bring the volume down a little bit. And I'm also going to add in a template. I have, in addition to the media library, anything else, Jack, you'd want to mention about the media library here?
No, I just think it's a little bit of a different workflow and a huge new opportunity for you as a creator, as a content creator, as a course creator. There's just so much available to you, right? Now I don't have to look for stock music. Now I don't have to look for images. It's all just right there in the app. So spend a lot less time kind of finding the assets you need. So I just think this is like a huge boost for your efficiency as a creator.
Absolutely. I used to get the question all the time, like, do you guys have, do you have music in here already? And you're like, no, sorry, you have to source it. Now you can just come right here, enter a key search term and find what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think there's so many cool things that you can do with that. Like, correcting the transcripts the entire way through, if I've got a transcript that maybe a couple words aren't right, or I've got the same kind of error happening over and over again, just be able to like work through really quickly with all these features. It's, I think, so powerful. So.
Absolutely. Awesome. And so we covered this kind of just briefly, but from here, this is where you can add text to your video. You can add a title or subtitles, plain text or captions. They're fancy captions in our case, but captions nevertheless. You can also add in shapes. So for example, this is super useful for if you're creating screen shares of tutorials. Use the arrow to point to a certain part of the screen, or use an ellipsis or a rectangle. Just apply that and to an isolated scene and drag it in. Jack, anything else there should mention?
I think let's maybe talk about the screen recorder, and then we'll jump to some questions that have started to emerge from kind of bringing in and getting started.
Absolutely. So now there's the screen recorder. You can actually record directly in to your composition. So here you see this record icon here. Now screen recording, oh, sorry, I think you're about to see two of me. And actually I'm going to reshare my screen so you see my full screen so that you'll see how the screen recorder works here. So give me a sec here. I'm gonna stop sharing and reshare. All right, do that. All right there. How's that looking?
Crystal clear, Harmony.
Excellent. All right. So a couple things about the screen recorder before we dive in. Now you can record audio only direct into your composition. You can record a camera recording like we're seeing here. That's what I'm going to demo. You can also do a screen recording, and you can decide, you know, what portion of your screen that you want to record. If you want your video to show up in the bottom left-hand corner, you can move it around. And so from here, I can configure my settings so that I'm using the right microphone, the right webcam, and so on. So I'm actually going to use camera recording. And so this is a guitar tutorial. He's talking about 2-1-2 arpeggios. So I'm going to add in, for all of some uke players out there, I'm going to hit record. All right, so here's the same C major 7 arpeggio, but on a ukulele. All right, I'm gonna push stop. All right, so now it's as simple as that. I've recorded the little insert that I want to incorporate into. So this could go for anything. This could be for a slide presentation that you've done and you need to include a couple additional slides that you may have left out, and you need to add some additional voiceover. So this is super powerful. I know this example that I'm showing is a little silly, but hopefully gets the use case across.
Well, we just had this question come through. You know, with Storyboard, can we add a PowerPoint and speak to the points to make a video? This would be the perfect use case for something like that, right? So I can have my PowerPoint up on screen, I can hit the screen recorder, and I can just talk through it, right? And then if I stumble over a point that I've made, it's so easy to edit or filler word remove or any of those things. But this is exactly the workflow that you're talking about here, Harmony.
Exactly. And so I recorded that exact, what you just mentioned there, Jack. I have all right, so there's that video that I successfully inserted. So it'll go from here. All right, I'm gonna see here. It'll go right from his audio to mine and then back to his video. So it's as simple as that, just to insert. But let's say you want to record your screen and you've got some slides here. This is something that I recorded just in Google Slides. So let me show you how I did this. I'm going to move Descript over here, and I'm going to move my slides here. Okay. And I'm just going to create a new composition now. This is our menu here. So this is the project we're in. We create a new composition. All right. And so now I'm going to use the recorder. And we're going to do screen. I'm going to turn the camera off and we'll start recording. And so now I'm going to just select this range. I'm going to hit record. All right, here we are in Descript. We're going to talk about how it's an all-in-one audio and video editor. There's so many things that you can do with it, from recording and editing, captions, collaborating, using Overdub, publishing, create accessible interactive learning content, easy for presentations. And okay, I'll go ahead and stop there. All right, so now I've just recorded my slides, just the isolated section that I wanted to record. I'm going to get rid of that. And so since I recorded that in advance, I'm just going to switch over. And so now here's what I essentially recorded. So Jack, is that what you were thinking as far as the recording a slide deck?
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that's like such a good way to bring something in. And like for instructors, you know, you can see how simple this was to go from a piece of static content to now then something I can narrate and give just a lot more color to just by hitting that screen recorder button, and it makes it so easy to clean it up that you don't have to worry about like, what if I stumble? What if I mess up the first take? I think stuff like that just really helps make all kinds of training and learning content so much easier to make. You just don't have to worry as much about, well, where am I going to record it? What am I going to edit it in? You can do it all in Descript.
Absolutely. So as you can see, like in that first screen recording I created, I went through and like got rid of some of the stuff that was repetitive. So here's what's really nice for things that you might not want to include. Let's say you flubbed a little bit. So we had a little bit of repetition here.
Slides. And lastly, as I mentioned, keep. And lastly,
so you can imagine how this goes on. It's easy to, fumble a little bit. So just highlight what you want to get rid of. Select this highlight option. We're going to ignore that. That's going to skip over your audio and video. So now,
slides. Lastly, as I mentioned, use Overdub to keep your
right? So it's as simple as that. So you can either fully delete the text or strike it. I like using the strike feature just so you can kind of track your changes as you go along.
Yeah.
Nice. And
Cool.
I'm going to go ahead and increase my size here. There we go. Hopefully that's looking a little bit better now.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely, we can see that transcript a little bit better. But we had another good question come through. Is there a way to blur portions of the screen to hide sensitive information? Maybe you're teaching a class with student information, or you want to reveal something later. I think there's another good way to use that kind of top nav bar and insert some elements to help you out with this.
Absolutely. I would say, let's say for this slide where maybe I don't want to include, someone's face or, it's showing Kevin in my face here. I'll go ahead and create a quick scene. And let's see, it ends about there. So another scene there. And what I can do now is, let's say I want to add a shape. And we'll do maybe a rectangle. All right. Kind of adjust it as needed. Can change the color. Let's see. We'll fill that to something different, or add shapes. You could and then overlay it with like a different title or different language to kind of cover up what you're trying to blur out. Is that what, Jack, did that answer the question there?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing to show people. Just like we might think of using those images just as like static images, but you could make one of these little windows blurry if you wanted to get that cool blur effect, or just, a nice black bar, get rid of it and it's gone.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some new really exciting effects that are getting rolled out with Storyboard. And that I think, we're trying to round out our video editing features in the app. And so from here, you'll notice that over here on the right, this is where you can adjust your parameters for the clip that you're working on. So you might want to add a blur effect to the entire screen, or you can, animations are going to be coming soon, be able to zoom and pan and fade in and out. So some nice animation options as well.
Yeah. Okay, one more question on this, Harmony. Is there a way to have your webcam as well as the screen? Previously, this person was using ScreenFlow for that kind of workflow. And we showed recording just yourself and recording just the screen. What about both?
Absolutely. Totally possible. So I'll just open up a new composition here and come up here to the record button again. And so here, in this case, I can choose camera, which I demonstrated earlier, but now we would do the screen, and you can choose to have your camera enabled or not. So you'll notice if I turn this on or off, I can disable it or change the input. And so when I record, it'll have my sort of head bubble down in the left-hand corner, and I can move that around as I'd like. Did that answer that question, Jack?
I think so, yeah. But you can see there's kind of two of Harmony on screen, and you can drag this screen around too, and make it bigger or smaller. And I think there's some cool ways that you can make this like really your own too. If you want to have like half of yourself and half of whatever you're showing off, that's a good way to do it as well.
And the nice thing too is that when you record yourself, we'll do it one more time here. Right? So I had it. I'll record this range. Here we're talking about the Descript screen recorder and how great it is. All right, I'll go ahead and stop. And then once that finishes recording, yeah, I'll be able to move myself around, change the size, and go about your day. Continue making edits once you've got your script.
Awesome. Okay. And Harmony, before we move on to some more of those searching, repurposing, more complicated editing questions that might come up, let's talk about a question that we get a lot, which is, what's the best way to use a project? Is that one class? Is that one episode? Is that one recording? How do I use compositions within a project effectively? I think this is a good way to, now that we've seen some different ways to create, how do I structure my projects to get across what I want to get across?
This is such a good question. We get it all the time with teams and individual creators. I think generally I say think of a project per course or per episode, depending on the type of content that you're creating, and then use compositions to let's say I want to pull out just a section of this and I want to repurpose it for social channels. Think of using compositions as a way to create a different version of your master tutorial or recording or episode. Jack, what else would you add to that?
Yeah, I would say compositions are kind of like the ingredients of your dish, right? So you've got all your different sources that you might want to bring things in from in your compositions, or maybe you want to use them as kind of different variations and test out a few versions of what you're working on. So I think compositions can be really helpful in try a few different versions of the same thing, but you don't have to like start all the way over, make a new project, anything like that. And I think that can make testing out some different workflows and some different visual styles really useful, which especially if you're trying to get across content to hundreds of employees or dozens of students. You gotta change it up on them. They want to see some different stuff, and I think that's where duplicating a composition and changing it up can be really, really useful. Also, we always recommend, when in doubt, create a new project, just in case things are getting slow or bogged down.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of kind of quick tips that you can do if you click on the project drop down here, go into your compositions. So let's say I'm switching to a new composition now. This interview that was just recorded on Zoom. I can quickly duplicate that composition, and from there I could create a shortened version and then rename it, ensure that it matches your naming conventions, and export that out as a standalone video.
Cool. Harmony, two more quick questions, and then let's jump on to our next topic because they're screen recording related. Is it always a square, or can I make it a circle in the corner of my screen?
So you should be able to change this. Let's see here. That is a great question. Jack,
the short answer is it's possible in Classic, but I don't know if this feature is in Storyboard yet. So yes is the answer to your question, but not yet is the answer in Storyboard. So stay tuned. We've got great changes coming. So but yes, it's possible in Descript right now, just not necessarily in the Storyboard version of the app. But
awesome. I'm going to reshare my screen so we're just seeing it full resolution here.
And one more question about this. Oops, sorry. Oh no, I lost my chat. Sorry, we already answered this question. Can I change the background of the camera when I report with the camera on? This is another new feature we got coming really soon with our AI-enabled green screen feature, which is going to be pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be under the effects. You're going to see this green screen option and chroma key as well. So watch out for that.
A couple cool new things that are coming in Storyboard. Some things not there yet. Some things really going to make your learning content even that much better. Should we go on to, let's say I've created some courses. Let's say I brought in some stuff. Maybe we want to talk a little bit about kind of searching through things, repurposing older materials, Harmony?
Definitely. Yeah. So this is where, it comes in handy to, ensure that you have a very structured, folder setup so that way when you're jumping into projects, you can easily quickly search by, specific keywords. But let's say in this case, I've got a project where I've got, number of different compositions, different sources. And so if I use this search here, let's say I'm going to look for the word today, I'm going to see over here on the right where that word comes up, right? So I can go through, I'm seeing 4 different results in a single composition. And then if I search the word, let's say chord, and I might want to search for text, across the entire project, this will allow me to see, okay, I have this word coming up in this other composition, so I can easily jump into that one.
C major 7 chord.
All right, so it's that easy. And so if I want to search for another keyword here, let's switch back to my Marilyn Petra. I can search for today. Oops. And shift around and use that search to my advantage. Jack, did that help as far as being able to search through different bits of content?
I think so. It's when I'm creating these classes or I'm thinking about these things, maybe there's a specific phrase I got to update, or, who knows, it's a science course and the science has changed, or it's, the proper terminology for something has changed. How would I go about maybe making some of those changes? Do we want to talk about using Overdub for some of those even?
Sure. Yeah. So for example, let's say let's see here. So let me go to a recording here. So Jack, are you talking about using the text correction, like searching and then like making a bulk correct change?
Yeah, so let's correct some text first, and then let's maybe fix something with Overdub if we get a wild hair.
Awesome. So I noticed with this one in particular, Petra's last name is misspelled. So I can go in and correct it. If that misspelling, Gerard, if it happened multiple spots throughout the entire duration, it would bulk correct text. So I'm going to go ahead and make that correction here. Apply to all. And now that will correct all of the instances where that word comes up.
And I think that's super useful in like a learning environment. Maybe you have a specific word or phrase that is specific to your company or is specific to your school. And now you can fix that across and fix that transcript. And so it appears in captions and things like that properly, just with a couple of clicks. But maybe we should also talk about the transcription glossary as a way to fix that too.
Absolutely. So over here, if you go to the hamburger menu, go to File, Transcription Glossary, this is a way for you to improve the AI transcription. So if there's common terms, acronyms that come up during your training, this is a place to load in those terms. And then once they're added, it will improve the accuracy of your transcription going forward. And the nice thing too is that the glossary is shared across your entire drive. So for any team members that are using transcription, it will pull from here as well.
So the good thing is let's say you're a team of instructors, you have a term that is new to the company. Maybe it's a new product name. You throw that product name in the day it gets announced. And then there you go. You have it for everybody on your team, which is pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I'm actually gonna jump to another project to demonstrate this the overdub use case here, Jack, if that's all right.
Of course.
I'm gonna go to this recording. So I'm using that same screen recording that we had earlier, right? So let's say I went through and I misspoke in a few spots, and I need to just make a correction to the audio while keeping the video the same. So let's say I want to use the same slides, but I need to correct what I said. So for example, I say, publish to your hosting destination of choice.
Publish it to your hosting destination of choice.
All right. So maybe I want to change the word hosting to favorite. So I'm going to highlight that text. I'm going to use the D key to overdub that. And I'm going to change this to, let's say, favorite. And so, Jack, do you want to tell folks a little bit about overdub so they can kind of conceptualize this and then they'll be able to hear it?
Yeah, Overdub is, I know a lot of, especially corporate teams, they use a text-to-speech tool. And Overdub is amazing because it is a custom voice cloning text-to-speech tool. So you can use truly a brand voice or a company voice for everybody. So you can clone your own voice, or maybe if your coworker is the person who voices all of your learning content, they can clone their voice, and then you can use those voices in your material. So it's broadcast quality text to speech. It sounds, my voice sounds just like me. And I think it's really, we've seen a lot of teams, especially in corporate environments, use it in a way to just like be more effective as a team, as opposed to having somebody re-record something over and over again. Now you can just type text to speech in high quality in the voice that you want it to be in, and use this to update your material or create something totally from scratch.
Absolutely. So let's see how this did. I'm going to pick it up from here.
And then lastly, publish it to your favorite destination of choice.
Awesome. So I'd probably get rid of this and move that sentence up so there's not quite as much of a pause in between. But it did okay, I think. Jack's voice is also really great, so happy to show that off as well. But that's kind of the magic of it, is being able to go in and make quick corrections, contextual fixes when needed. So super useful for keeping training materials, compliance training up to date when those small changes occur. Jack, anything else related to Overdub that you wanted to mention?
Well, we had this question come up. Is it possible to train an Overdub voice with a recording maybe that I already have, or a recording of a Zoom meeting or something? Maybe I was a guest on a podcast. Can I take one of those and make an Overdub voice with it?
Oh, that's so great. Yes. So the short answer is yes. So for example, let's say I've already created my Overdub voice, but I want to add some additional training to it. All I have to do is highlight the text. I'm going to highlight this. So cut, copy, paste. I'm going to back out to my drive. And this is a good opportunity to explain how to create your voice. Come up to your initials or your avatar here. I'm going to go to our Overdub voices. I'm going to go to my voice that I've already set up here. And I'm going to open up the training. And from here, all I need to do is I'm going to add this in, just paste it in. Otherwise, drag a file in, a video, audio of your voice, it'll transcribe, and then I'm going to resubmit that training data. So I would say around like 45, 60 minutes, your voice is going to get pretty dialed in. The minimum is 10 minutes, but the more material you add, the better quality you're going to get.
Yeah, that was another question. It's very topical. Maybe I want to get started. How can I make sure it sounds really good? 45 to 60 minutes of material gets really, really crystal clear sounding. Improve your recording conditions too. We can use our studio sound feature to clean up a recording. So something like that can be really awesome. But yeah, I mean, other custom voice cloning solutions, they take like 8 hours of audio just to get a voice. We can turn around something for you in less than a day with as little as 10 minutes of audio, which is pretty awesome. So
Absolutely. Any other questions before we move on?
I'm gonna get one more Overdub question. I like this. How does Overdub learn your voice? Overdub is a machine learning model that will take all of the things that you say and break that down into even like smaller pieces of words. So even like less than syllables of words. And then basically train a model on that. So then uses AI to kind of stitch those pieces of words together so that it sounds just like you and the way you would pronounce a word. And like I said, we found people say that it saves them a ton of time because they don't have to re-record things. They don't have to worry about making a fix now. They can just do it with Overdub.
Yeah. I'm at the point of where I use it almost daily.
Cool. Harmony, let's maybe go on to, we've got about 10 minutes left in our show here. Let's spend the last few minutes maybe talking about, I've created what I want. I've cut it up. I've used Overdub to fix the things that I need to fix. How do I get this out of Descript? How do I publish it to the right place?
Absolutely. So there's a couple different ways that you can publish your content. So over here in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see this option to publish. So from here, one option is in terms of the way that we think about publishing, I'm actually going to take something that I've already published here. I think I've already published this. Yeah. So I can publish this. It's going to generate a web link where I can go view this recording. It'll follow along in the interactive transcript. And if I select this, I can also publish to a variety of different destinations. So in the case of video content, publish it to Wistia, Video Ask, Restream. If you're working with audio only files, you can also export to Captivate, Castos. So a bunch of different publishing partners that we work with. But this page option is really nice because you'll have the video, the interactive transcript. You can make comments on it. So great way to get your material out there. And for folks that have intranets or your WordPress sites, you can embed these pages too, which is really nice. The other way to get your material out, good old-fashioned exports. I'm going to go to File, Export. You'll see that you can also export transcripts, subtitles, an audio-only version, video, GIFs. But then we also have timeline exports. So if you're going out to something like Premiere, Pro Tools, you can also create those timeline exports. That was kind of rapid fire. Did I catch most of it, Jack?
No, I think so. I mean, like we see people use the embed option all the time of the publish pages for, their own internal LMS, that, maybe the cornerstones of the world. But we see people, make a class or do a bigger Zoom recording or screen recording, can send those right to Blackboard or Canvas, upload those files pretty easily after you've created them in Descript. Kaltura, also a popular place that we see people end up at. And Wistia, I know we've got a direct integration with Wistia and a number of other direct integrations that might be useful for the audience to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, here. So if you go over to that publish option, here's that Wistia or Video Ask. Here's an example of what this page will look like. So I'm going to copy that link. And I'm going to open that up in a separate window just so that everyone can kind of see what that looks like here. So here's that video. I can play it. So in this case, this was a final edit of this tutorial that I made. I added a template at the beginning, added some music. So once he gets started talking, it'll follow along in the transcript.
Thank you for tuning in.
So super easy to generate those pages. Then I can take that iframe, embed it, and easy as that.
Super awesome for delivering scalable training. You can see how easy it was to update it in Descript, and then I can just republish right to that page, right?
Exactly. Let's say I wanted to go in and change this visual, update it, republish. Easy as that.
Awesome. Well, Harmony, we got a few minutes left. Maybe we want to talk about pricing plans, things like that. Actually, one other thing on those pages that maybe we should have spent a little bit more time on, but let's talk about commenting and using commenting both in the app and on those pages, because I think those are two great workflows for collaboration that people would like to see.
100%. So yeah, if you're a subject matter expert and you just need to come in and listen through and give some comments, let's say here I'm going to highlight the section that I want to give some feedback on, and then use the comment option here, and I can mention Jack. I can say switch out visual. Jack will get notified that he's been mentioned in this project. He can pop in, make additional edits. He can respond back. So very Google Docs like in that sense. And then you can also, on that page that you publish, let me pull that up one more time. If you've enabled comments, you can do the same thing. Let's say the subject matter expert, maybe they're not necessarily going to come into the app, but you might be sending them one of these pages, and then they can leave a comment for you. About image, then you'll get notified. You can make changes, and we also have a Slack integration as well. So if you have that on, you'll get notified through Slack as well.
And Harmony, on these pages, I can, let's say I don't want everybody in my company making comments on something I've worked on. I can turn those off, right?
Totally. So I can go to my page settings. I can turn comments off or on. Just use that checkbox. I can also decide if I want to have the transcript show the author, custom branding. The custom branding is really nice. So you'll see like I have the Descript logo for my published pages, but you could swap this out with your company logo, which is nice, especially if you're embedding these. So yeah, it's as easy as that. And if you're, let's say, needing to share a project out with a subject matter expert that doesn't necessarily need access to your entire drive, you can also just give them access to the project and say they can edit or comment without giving them access to your entire library of work.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've also seen a couple of questions about transitions, and I know these are one thing that's changing in Storyboard too. Maybe we want to talk about like scene transitions or slide transitions quickly before we go to our wrap up of the show.
Totally. So if I wanted to add a transition, like going into this slide here, I'm going to get rid of the comments and I'm going to add a transition in, and I want to do, let's say, blur crossfade. Oh, no, not that. How about, and we'll do a fade. Does that look?
So here we have our drop to.
So pretty basic, but as you can see, it can also get a little bit more involved. So go back here. All right. Go back to the slide. And yeah, I can go in and change the effect if I want to blur it or have it slide in. So some different options there.
Yeah. We don't have the classic PowerPoint star wipe yet. We got some basic transitions in there now. And many more to come. So stay tuned. Join Storyboard, test it out, see what you want. Send us feature requests. We always love to hear what you want to see as well too. So
absolutely.
Harmony, how much does all this cost? Let's talk about pricing. Let's talk about our nonprofit and EDU plans and the discount code you can get for attending today.
Absolutely. So just a plug for the pricing page. If you want to spend a little bit of time on this, there's a handy calculator here too. So depending on the plan you're interested in, you can kind of get a sense of your estimated costs per month. But we also, in addition to our creator and pro plans and enterprise plans, we also have an educator plan as well. It's $5 a month per editor. And it's a great deal. Just send us a note if you're interested in applying for it. You can also get a free month of pro by using the discount code that's in the banner right there. This will give you a way to kind of dip your toes, test it out. The great thing with having access to pro is that you're going to be able to fully test out Overdub and see how that works with your team.
Yeah, super awesome way to try it, see how much time, how much speed you can gain just by using some things like Overdub, just by using some things like the Descript screen recorder. There's a lot of cool stuff packed into the app. So yeah, Harmony, we're at the top of the hour. Anything that we left out? Anything that anything we want to talk about for the final couple seconds here?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we covered a lot. Kind of, if there's still any questions that folks have, please reach out to us. Down in the bottom right-hand corner of the app, there's a little question mark. And I want to give a quick shout out to our amazing support team. If you use the contact us button, you'll be able to chat live with them 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific. Otherwise, it'll open up an email thread. They are super fantastic, great technical support if you're in a pinch and need some help right in the moment. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to Jack and I for account management, workflow questions. We're here to help and ensure that you can make the most out of your experience in Descript.
Well, I had a lot of fun today, Harmony. I think we got to go through a lot of cool stuff in Storyboard. I can't emphasize enough. Give it a try. We really, really want to hear your feedback. We really want to hear the ways that you want to use Descript, and we want to hear from you too. So send us emails. I'm Jack at Descript.com. So we love to figure out ways that we can work together, learn more about your workflows and ways that we can help out. So yeah, it's always so exciting to do this Descript at Work series, and glad we got to talk to you as school is getting started again a little bit. So.
Definitely. All right. Well, thanks, Jack. Thanks.
It's always a pleasure to spend these hours with you, Harmony. So
Likewise.
Cool. With that, that's the last you'll hear from us today, but not the last you'll hear from us on our Descript at Work series. We got more webinars coming up, so stay tuned for that. Click on our events page on our website, and yeah, let's leave it there for now. So signing off. See y'all later. Have a good rest of your day.